Hello and welcome to Precon Decon, the video series where I deconstruct the pre-constructed decks of Magic the Gathering's history. In this video we're going to look at the last deck from Magic 2010, which is Nature's Fury, which is green and white, primarily green with a splash of white, so like all the other M10 decks. It's primarily one colour with a splash of the secondary, just just to show off, I guess, to new players that, decks don't have to be just one colour. Anyway, let's talk about some of the cards in here. So the foil face rare is Colonian Behemoth, and it is quite a behemoth indeed. 5 and 2 green for a 9/9 with Shroud. Yep, that's all it is. I think that's all it needs to be. Kind of a shame it doesn't have trample. I always feel it's weird when a creature this big doesn't have trample, but having Shroud is pretty good because it makes it so hard then to deal with this thing. 'Cause you can't you can't pacify it, you can't do kill spills on it. Just a really big, just a big dumb smashy creature, which is I think absolutely perfect for a core set. I say 9/9 is very hard to deal with when it also has Shroud. So yeah, I think a good start, and at 7 mana actually is actually pretty well costed for the time as well. So yeah, I think it's pretty good. A single enormous Baloth, so just 6 and a green for a 7/7. Yeah, it's not as impressive as Colonian Behemoth, I suppose, but it's fine. It's just a big dumb, again, smashy creature, which is what a lot of the deck kind of is really. A single Stampeding Rhino, just 5 mana for a 4/4 with Trample. Yep, again, like perfectly straightforward, simple creature. Yeah, great, actually. Kind of speaks to the strength of M10 as a core set, that you could just have like these kind of just generically, because Stampeding Rhino is technically a new card. It's there's Fangren Hunter Mirrodin, which is 3 and 2 green for a 4/4 trample, I suppose. But I mean, like that's Fangrens are specific to Mirrodin. I think the strength of M10 was that you could just have like these really simple, straightforward creatures. They're brand new cards. You didn't have to like kind of hunt through old sets to find a reprint. I suppose you could just have cards like this. Stampeding Rhino is perfectly fine. Single Awaken a Druid, so 2 and a green. When it enters the battlefield, target forest becomes a 4/5 green treefolk creature as long as Awaken a Druid is still on the battlefield, and it's still land. So this is pretty fun, I think. If you if you play this turn 4, I suppose, then you could just then swing with the treefolk you make straight away, I suppose. I think this is a pretty fun effect actually. And then you got to play this kind of little game of keeping the druid alive to make sure you still have your big treefolk, which you've gotten at like quite a good cost, I suppose. Also, it doesn't have to target one of your forests. You could target an opponent's forest if you have a way of killing it, I suppose, if you wanted to do that. Yeah, I think it's pretty fun. Single prize unicorn, so 3 and a green for a 2/2, has a lure effect. Lure effects are always super good because it means you just attack with everything. Everything has to block block the unicorn, and everything else gets through. Yep, prize unicorn is super good inclusion in the deck, I think. Single giant spider, classic giant spider, 3 and a green, just 2/4 with reach. Yep, perfectly good. I think it hangs around for a bit longer before eventually getting obsoleted, but it's still fun to see giant spider show up in sets at this time. 2 Borderland Ranger, so this is a new card in M10, and a very welcome card, I think. So 2 and a green for a 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic land, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. So yeah, pretty good effect, and I think, and this is actually perfect for Zendikar coming up, because then we've got Landfall coming up. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good card to have, and just I think perfectly ramps up into other land. Yeah, good card, I think. Single Elvish Visionary, just 1 and a green for a 1/1. When it comes in, you just draw a card. Yep, perfectly fine. 2 Llanowar Elves, just 1 green for a 1/1. Taps to add a green. We all know Llanowar Elves. It just helps you ramp up into your big creatures. Yeah, Llanowar Elves is, again, a great card to include. I think I'm really glad there's 2 of them in here, actually. And then some not so great stuff. So Bramble Creeper, I don't understand the design idea behind this card at all. So 4 and a green for a 0/3, which is horrible. And when it attacks, it gets +5/+0 till end of turn. Okay, like I don't know why it couldn't just be 5/3 all the time. I suppose someone out there is going to say like, oh, well, if you have a way of getting multiple combat phases, this would keep getting stronger because on your second combat phase it would attack again, and then it would be a 10-3. Just like, yeah, but it's not going to survive the first combat, is it? Because it's only got 3 toughness, which is not amazing. Yeah, this card is just kind of bad. So in 99% of the time, this is just super bad. The fact it has no power when it blocks either is just not great. It's just not a great way to spend 5 mana in my mind. Like, this is a card you would take out straight away. Actually, I think. And then a single Runeclaw Bear. This was really disappointing, I remember. So this is it's actually really funny on Gatherer. Runeclaw Bear, despite being exactly identical to Grizzly Bears, the classic Grizzly Bears, the same mana cost, same power, same toughness, like they're just vanilla creatures. Runeclaw Bear is rated worse than Grizzly Bears, just because, well, it should be, because it's really disappointing. Like, how do you have like a bear with cool like magic runes on its claws and it like just not have any abilities? It's the kind of thing I said in one of the Alara decks when we had. I think it was like the Cillian Elf in one of the Naya decks, which was exactly this. It was 1 and a green for a 2/2, with no abilities. And like, we've established by this point in the game's history that green can have 2/2s for 2 with abilities. So it's just really disappointing to. I mean, you could say, okay, it's a core set. The complexity has to be maybe a bit lower, so we do have to have like maybe vanilla creatures, but. No, I don't buy it. It's just really disappointing to have something that sounds cool like Runeclaw Bear with like pretty good art as well, and it just not have an effect. I mean, even if it's just like, oh, I don't know, when it dies you gain 1 life, anything like that would have been fine, but no. It's just very, very disappointing card. Worse than Grizzly Bears for sure. So we have a single aura. We have Oakenform, so 2 and a green. Just enchanted creature gets +3/+3, which is very straightforward, very basic, but it's fine. It was actually it's funny. The other year I was teaching my wife how to play Magic just because she was kind of interested in it, and I built her a very basic green deck with just like dinosaurs and stuff in it, just kind of just big green attackers, and I put a couple of Oakenforms in there because like, oh, okay, well I'll teach you about auras and stuff as well, and I got my ass kicked in so many games because of Oakenform on a Colossal Dreadmore. Yeah, so just goes to show even simple cards like this can help win games. But yeah, +3/+3 is obviously a pretty sizable buff to give. So yeah, I think it's perfectly fine in this deck. 2 giant growths. Yep, classic giant growth. We all like giant growth. 1 green for +3/+3. Yep, the green lightning bolt essentially. Yeah, it's good, and I'm really happy there's 2 of them. Single overrun, which is a really good card to have in here. So 2 and 3 green to give creatures you control +3/+3 and trample and end a turn. So this is like just your game ender basically. This is a way of getting trample on Colonian Behemoth. Just makes all your creatures super threatening. At the very least they become a 4/4 with trample, which is perfectly fine, and and then you just attack out, and normally this is enough to, if not win, then put you very far ahead. So yeah, really like overrun, really good card to include. So the other rare of the deck is weirdly a spell, which is not something I would expect in sort of like a green focused deck. Might of Oaks, so 3 in the green. It's just big giant growth. 3 in the green, target creature gets +7/+7 till end of turn. I mean, yeah, it's fine as a card, but yeah, it's not doing. I feel like it's not doing anything exciting for like a new player. Like maybe they see it and like, oh, it's a really big buff spell, amazing, but like I don't know, it's just doing giant growth, but more. It's not that interesting, I don't think. I don't know. It feels like a weird choice for a rare. So you have a single nature spiral, so 1 in a green. You get a permanent card from your graveyard back to your hand, which is good. I always like it when green gets this effect, this kind of, where it delves into kind of like black's part of the color pie. Although you could say what green used to have regrowth back in alpha back in the day, I suppose. So yeah, this is fine. I like this effect in green. let's just say that. And then a single naturalize, which is fine, good bit of utility, and a single windstorm. So this is kind of like the I think this is the first time it's printed. So so Hurricane has obviously been retired. So Hurricane was essentially like the green earthquake. It did X damage to creatures with flying, but also did damage to players, which typically green can't do. Which I agree with. I don't think green should have ways of doing non-combat damage to players because it feels weird. So I think Windstorm, I think, is a new card created just to deal with flyers, and then it doesn't hit players, which was always kind of like the weird thing with Hurricane. But yeah, I think it's perfectly fine. And then the splash of white is a single Divine Verdict. I think this is an okay spell. 3 and a white to destroy an attacking or blocking creature. Yep, gives you a removal option. Single Harm's Way. This is a fun card, I think. It's 1 white mana to basically bounce 2 damage from yourself or one of your creatures onto something else, which I think is a pretty fun ability to have for only a single white mana. I don't think this has been reprinted. It might have been reprinted maybe in M11 or something, but I don't think it's ever been reprinted since, which is, yeah, okay. But I think it's a fun card. And then Grak, single copy of Grak, because we've got to have a pacifism, again, just to lock down enemy creatures. So yeah. And then lands, yep, Terramorphic Expanse, 5 plains, 11 forests. Yep, perfectly good. And you've got a lot of land ramp options, I suppose, so this is fine. So what could have been? Well, there's a few cards I think should have been here because green in M10 actually was kind of sport for choices, like some really nice options that they could have had. So one thing I think would have been Deadly Recluse. Deadly Recluse is like legit amazing. This is one of the cards I really like from M10. I still like it to this day because it's so efficient. So it's just 2 mana for a 1/2 with reach and death touch. Like no one wants to attack when you have Deadly Recluse. Like it's like for so long in my player group, turn 2 play was Deadly Recluse, and then that was just it. That was just no combat for like 3 or 4 turns until you found a way of dealing with the Deadly Recluse. Because it's such a strong deterrent. Because no one wants their like big dragon or something dying to just like a little spider for like that you got down for 2 mana. So yeah, it's really good. Really like Deadly Recluse. Mist Leopard, I thought this could be fun. 4 mana for a 3/2 with Shroud, possibly. That could have been okay. Cudgel Troll, I think is a really strong uncommon. 2 and 2 green for a 4/3. It has regeneration for a single green mana. I'm an absolute sucker for regeneration for only a single mana. So yeah, I think that could have been in here. Acidic Slime could have been fun. It's another Death Touch creature, 2/2, and when it comes in, destroys an artifact, enchantment, or a land. So yeah, that would have been okay. Another kind of bit of utility. Howl of the Night Pack could have been kind of fun. This was a real surprise to see this actually in M10, I think. So 6 and a green to get a 2/2 green wolf creature token onto the battlefield for every forest you control. This is super fun. Especially then if you overrun the next turn. Yeah, I'd say if this makes, probably you want to make at least 3 tokens with this to feel like it's a good deal. If you make more than 3 tokens, it feels really great. Yeah, Howl of the Night Pack is a really fun card. And I think instead of Might of Oaks, because it's not a super interesting rare, Elvis Piper, this is like a really classic core set creature, I always feel like, and I always think like new players like this kind of effect. I mean, I still like this effect. Just 3 in the green for a 1/1, pay 1 green, tap creature card from your hand straight into the battlefield. Yep, super good. So you can do it instant speed if you need to, and just gets around like the high casting cost of some of your bigger creatures. Yeah, I just think Might of Oaks is a weird rare to have in here, honestly. But overall, I do think the deck is like pretty fun. It's just kind of green stompy. I mean, like, you can't say it's green white stompy this because you got no white creatures. The splash of white is there just for some honestly like removal spells. But yeah, I think overall it's pretty good. Again, shows new players what the color does, which is big creatures and like land ramp and stuff. So yeah, I think it's perfectly fine. Kind of middle of the pack, I think, for all the M10 decks. Not as good as I think probably the white one. The white or the blue one were probably like my favorites, thinking about it, looking back on it. But yeah, overall I think all the M10 core set decks are pretty good. So yeah, that's all of them we've looked at now. So we're going to move on next video to start looking at Zendikar, which is a really fun set. I've got a lot to say about Zendikar, and it's a set that like a lot of people have a lot of fondness for. So yeah, that'll be fun to look at those. In the meantime, if you had any comments, thoughts, opinions, stories about Nature's Fury or any of the other decks we've looked at in M10, stick a comment below. Always like reading those. But yeah, I'll be back next time, starting with Zendikar. Until then, thanks for watching and listening. Have a great day.